Hello and welcome to week 14. There's one more left after this one. Week 14, and we are looking at chapters 24 and 25. Chapter 24 seems sort of a theme here. We looked at positive relationships. Now we're looking at love, friendship, and social support. Certainly things that have been paramount over the last few years, namely because they were difficult to come by with the pandemic. And so here we have a study of the importance of those particular types of relationships to our social well-being. In the discussion, I'm having you look at research that is out there from the Pew Foundation. They do all kinds of really, really cool research. I subscribe to them, and when I get a newsletter, I kind of look around. They just do all kinds of things, really cool. And they did this really cool study on online relationships. The online dating world and the success, relative failure of that thing. So let's move beyond the rhetoric. Let's move beyond the personal or anecdotal experiences, and let's see what research indicates in terms of the success of online dating and that kind of stuff. Now, in the quiz, I'm having you discuss that. So if you want to share personal experiences, or if you have personal experiences but you don't want to say that they're yours, you can say, I have a friend who, and we will not assume you're talking about yourself. The quiz actually asks you to reflect on the relationships that you created while you were at work or at school, and how those relationships facilitated your success at work or school. So the importance of that, very, very cool. And then in 25, we look at attachment throughout the life course, throughout the lifespan. We talk about attachment in developmental psych, something that happens very early in life. But attachment is a process by which we become connected to people throughout our life. So in the discussion, I'm having you look at, and I know some people have jumped into this discussion already, about positive and potentially some negative experiences that you've had when you've sought support online. So it's an online class, so I like to bring forward some of the ways in which we experience social psych online, so that you'll find a little emphasis here on that. And then in chapter 25, looking at the notion of how early attachment affects later relationships. So again, we're kind of trying to look at this from a developmental point of view. So when we talk about early attachment, we're talking about with, family of origin, those first kinds of attachments, early stuff. We're not necessarily talking about, your teenage years and then into young adulthood where you might have been burned in a relationship and that affects you today. Those are more, almost all of those are sort of when we're, conscious. We're aware of these things going on and the pain they cause, and we develop trepidations about other relationships if they're negative. The early ones are really when they're not really under our conscious control, and we like to take a look at those to see if there's anything about how we navigate relationships in our adulthood that relates to how we experience attachments during childhood. And I myself have done this on my own reflection, looking at my relationships with which for the greater part of my adulthood were highly insecure on my part, and it relates to the early childhood experience I had when my parents got divorced. Now, I can't pinpoint specifically what got broken, but certainly it was something that I had to validate was there, that I had to own it, and in order to have more positive relationships as I grew older, I was going to have to contend with the parts of that were mine. I couldn't fix anything that was in the past, so I had to work on those things. So maybe some self-reflection on that as to whatever your experiences are. But certainly the quiz is about a connection between early attachment and later success or struggle with relationships as an adult. So that brings it, that's this week. We only have one more week left. There's one more chapter. There's no final assignment or special assignments in this particular class. So as we approach the end of the semester, let's, pull the boots up and, make a nice sprint to the end strong. And I will see you on the discussion boards as we head into the end of this semester. So take care.